Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached that very special point in SM Tulsa when it is time for the last speaker of the conference. I'm going to wait until I get a reaction from you for that. Because this is a very special part for me personally, because the speaker is someone that I know. Those of you that are veterans of prior SMTULSA conferences may look at this title, Put Success in Your Way, and have a bit of deja vu. You may remember that from last year when Cheryl gave us a lot of tips about getting started with the conference under the title of Putting Success in Your Way. And you may remember the year before that when I used that title, Putting Success in Your Way, for my presentation as we got started. You remember at the beginning of the conference when I asked you about your purpose and what you plan to do with the conference, and do you still have your index card? I'm giving 5 bonus points and a business card to anybody that still has their index card. Do you have your index card now where I asked you to write your purpose down? Is there anybody that still has your I wrote my purpose down index card? Or did I give you a card, or did I just made you get a new thing?
New thing.
New thing. You have yours right there. Business card for you. That's 1. Anybody else? 2. All right. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're coming out now. You offer people liquor and suddenly they're interested. You just need to know how to work with the SM Tulsa crowd. So that's a little tip for you, Rob. You want their attention, you're going to need liquor. I don't know what you'll do now. Okay. There will be a drinking game during Putting Success in Your Way. And that drinking game is going to work on this phrase. What would that look like? Okay, I'm expecting to hear that more than once during this presentation because I hear that a lot from Rob. Rob Hatch is a friend of mine. He is from Maine, and so you may wonder, how does somebody from Oklahoma connect with a person from Maine? And we have a mutual friend that introduced us online. We've connected for several years now, and we do what I loosely call peer mentoring, which means once a week he and I do a call on Skype, or we just do a phone call, and we talk about what we're doing and what ideas and what we can help each other with. It is one of the most helpful things I can do. And so if you have not got someone that you do something like that with, this is a great place to connect with someone and to find that kind of a peer mentor who can help you with all the projects that you're working on. I cannot tell you how much it has meant to me. Rob lives in Maine. He's got a big family, I think. He lives with his wife, Meg, and they have 4 children now. They're outgrowing their house. I don't know where they're going to go. They have a lovely family. And what was it, Clay, that just won in swimming?
Third place. Yeah.
Won 3rd place in freestyle.
Yes.
All right. So this is the kind of thing that I want you to know about Rob, is that he has some secret superpowers. He has a background in early childhood education. He's never quite what you expect. He did some work. He did a lot of work with the government of Maine. He got connected with a lot of training and did work with the touch points methods. Are there any of the nonprofit folks who know the touch points method? There's no touch pointers in here. Okay. But what you need to know is he's got a lot of secret superpowers of how people think and connect. So if you are ready to try to wrap up what you have learned here in the last 2 days, to figure out what you're going to do with this in a practical manner and what's going to change in your life because you were here, then I ask you to give your attention and your affection and applause to my friend Rob Hatch.
Thank you, Becky. Yeah. Where's Cheryl? She's in the room. Thank you so much. This has been amazing.
Thank you.
So thank you. And a round of applause for this amazing conference. And the entire team who's been working and filming and taking pictures. It has been great. You guys have been fun to meet. If I haven't met all of you yet, I know I've had some great conversations here and there, and I've heard some amazing presentations, and that's kind of what I want to talk about. We are leaving with piles of ideas. I mean, how many people just kind of feel overwhelmed in general when they're working at their desk and they're trying to figure out what to do next with whether it's social media or what it is they need to work on, what they should be doing, or feeling like, crap, I'm not there, but I think I should be there, all of that. We do this, right? We feel completely and utterly overwhelmed by all these ideas of where we should be and what should we be on, and should I be on Snapchat, all of that. So I want to talk, and Becky introduced me, Rob Hatch, president and co-founder of Owner Media Group. I live in Maine. My business partner lives in Boston. We have a third person, our director of owner services. He lives in Maine as well, but I never see him. So we're just everywhere, and but we work really hard and do great things. Work better. Work better. This is what I help people do. I help people to do their work better. That is my personal mission. It's what I love doing. It's how I love supporting people, and I do it in a variety of ways. I do it with coaching. I do it with my writing. I do it with webinars and courses. I help people work better. I've always, even when I was working in early childhood education, my job, I learned really quickly that I liked being in the classroom. I was actually a preschool teacher. I was an infant teacher, toddler teacher, preschool teacher many years ago. But I really learned really quickly that there are so many people that do it so much better than me. So I got out of the classroom and started supporting these amazing professionals in an administrative role because I want to help them do their work better. It wasn't about me being in the classroom. I didn't need to do that. So sometimes helping people work better, it's not about time management, unless of course it is. It's not about productivity, unless of course it is. It's never about trying to help people do more than one thing at a time. It's really about helping people figure out how they work best, kind of helping them boil things down into a simple, effective plan, and helping them to put success in their way. Put success in your way. I wrote this down on a Post-it note. So the last 2 years it was used in front of you, it was stolen from me. Just want to say that. with permission, sorry. I wrote this down on a Post-it note that I still have at my house. And it's just served to guide my actions, my plans, my goal setting, how I set up what I want to accomplish. Now, I'm about to talk to you about kind of laying out these plans, these methods, but I have to confess that I don't naturally think this way. I am if I'm kind to myself, I call myself an associative thinker. I'm always looking at the pieces and the grabbing of dots and threads and figuring out what connects and how to pull things together from all different areas into something that makes sense. So as you're talking to me, that's how my brain is working. Oh, she said this 5 minutes ago, and then she just said that. Holy cow. And I pull those things together. Some people call it ADHD. That's what my doctor calls it. So put success in your way. This way of thinking doesn't come naturally, but that's why I use it. Before, when he was talking about maybe not focusing on our strengths and we need to pay attention to our weaknesses, that's exactly what this does. What I do is figure out where I need support. I have to acknowledge how my brain works and then use some supports to help it along. So I wrote this down. I don't normally think like this, but I had to face it. So put success in your way is really a strategy for me. And I want it to become a strategy for you in how you go away from here, because the whole point of this is for you to take all these amazing ideas and kind of figure out what do I need to do with them? What's the best approach here? How do I make these work for me, but not get completely overwhelmed? Because if you sit down in front of your desk and you start trying all these ideas kind of without really thinking them through and figuring out a plan, it's not going to work. That theme has come up time and time again. You need a plan. You need a content marketing plan, where you need to figure out how you're going to use these tools and whether or not it even fits for the people you serve to be able to use these tools. So, put success in your way is a strategy for me. It's based on 3 core assumptions. The first assumption that we understand, and it's well researched, is that willpower is limited. We run out of willpower. We do not have an unending supply of willpower. No matter how many inspirational posters you see, you do not have an unending supply of willpower. And here's a simple example that you might face. If you're trying to get something done, you've got a browser window open, you're trying to focus. Let's say you're trying to write a blog post, and you've got the browser window open, but if you have another browser window open and Facebook is there or Twitter is there, you're actually taxing your willpower to stay focused because those things are subtly calling at your attention, especially if you have notifications turned on. If the little red dot comes up, I'm just going to go over here and look just for a second. Taxing your willpower. So we want to shut things down. So there's a great study that was done, I don't know if you've heard about it. There's a man named Roy Baumeister. He has a book called Willpower. And he did a simple study. Has anyone heard of this study, the chocolate chip cookie study? No? Okay. Chocolate chip cookie study basically took two groups of college students, two separate rooms, you know. All right, two different rooms. And he asked them to take a test in each group. He goes into the first group and he says, here's the test. I want you to focus on this, complete this test. And oh, by the way, here is a warm plate of freshly baked chocolate chip cookies. Please don't eat them. Therefore, after you take the test. Don't eat them before you're finished. But when you're done, have yourself a cookie. Then he goes into the other room. Here's the test. Please take the test. And oh, by the way, here's a bowl of radishes. Don't eat the radishes until you're done the test. Which group do you think performed better on the test? The radish group, right? We are not motivated by those cookies. We are distracted by them. So willpower and having to resist that temptation causes us to perform poorly. So that's the example of willpower. Habits are a powerful biological force. We kind of know this. And when I talk about habits, we end up talking about bad habits a lot, right? The things that we're trying to quit or get rid of or stop doing. But habits support us. I mean, brushing your teeth. Do you really think about how you brush your teeth? No, you just brush them, right? But if I asked you to slow it down and what do you do? You probably even have a pattern that you follow every single time. You don't think about it, you just do it. It's a habit, it's ingrained now. You just brush your teeth in a certain way and you're done. Same with tying your shoes. Two really valuable habits. We don't have to think about them. Habits are powerful because we don't have to think of it. They just sort of sit there supporting us throughout the day to do the things we need to do to get somewhere and we don't trip on our own 2 feet. And this third one, decisions are distractions. This is a lot like willpower. For every decision you make, every subsequent decision is impacted negatively. For every decision you make, your next decision is impacted negatively. You are wearing out your decision-making ability. So how many, of us go to a closet and try to figure out, what am I going to wear today? I don't know. What do I have for breakfast? I don't know what I feel like today. Fruit Loops on hot dog? No. You guys see that? Cleveland, the baseball team, the Indians are launching a hot dog, and you can either have crunchy peanut butter, Fruit Loops, or I forget what the other one was, but that's when you go to the ballpark, that's what you can get on your hot dog. You get Fruit Loops on your hot dog now. So anyway, decisions are distractions. That one just distracted me, right? So, decisions are distractions. So the more that we have to make these little tiny decisions throughout the day, we get distracted. This has been talked about a couple times over and over and over again, so I'm going to bring it up one more time. But the most famous ones that are talked about now, Steve Jobs' wardrobe, right? Mark Zuckerberg's wardrobe. You know this. This comes to mind. They wear the same thing. Mark Zuckerberg famously posted, I was going to say tweeted, but no, he did not tweet it. He posted on Facebook his closet at the end of his paternity leave. He's going back to work, and the picture was, wonder what I'm going to wear. And the picture was a row of, 13 of the same t-shirt. No choice there. And they do this to put success in their way, to eliminate decisions that they don't need to make. Why waste energy and time on all these little decisions? And it's not that you have to wear the same thing. It's that you can decide beforehand to figure out, what are you going to wear? Lay it out. So they're putting success in their way. So let's talk about all these notes and these ideas and all these decisions. And maybe this sounds familiar, I don't know. You take all these notes from a conference, and you go back to your desk, you walk in your office, you put the notebook down on the desk, maybe you open up a browser, you check email, start maybe skimming through and figuring out who you're going to respond to, and you respond, and you're a little, you've been away for a few days, so you want to catch up, and you did some emailing here and there, but now you're back at home, and you're really kind of dialed in, and so 2 months later, you're like, that notebook, there it is, on the corner of my desk, tucked under 14 other pieces of paper. I meant to pull all those ideas out and do something with them. So let me just pull it out on the corner of my desk because I got this other email to write right now. Does this sound familiar at all? Does this happen? You go back to a conference and you just don't, you have all these great intentions, right? Great intentions. We'll talk about that in a second. But maybe this sounds familiar to you. This happens because not only do we just start responding to that email, but I have no idea what this is like, but maybe you will identify with it. You sit down, no, it's not your desk. Let's go back to, it's in the morning, you're waking up from a nice night of sleep, you've been back from conference for a few days, you hit snooze on your phone, or maybe you swipe it to turn it off, but then you grab it. And first thing you do is you open it up and you check, check Facebook, check Twitter, want to see what's going on. You're 30 seconds awake, right? Got to see what's going on. They might need me for heart surgery. No, you're not on call, but I'm going to check anyway, see what's going on. And then a minute later, you're like, I'll just check email because I want to get my head right? I want to know what I'm going into, right? I want to know if anything came in overnight. Let me just get this head right here. Hold on. And then like, should I reply now? No. So you take a shower, you figure out what you're going to wear. Can't find your socks, whatever. So finally you get yourself out the door after, of course, looking for your keys that you couldn't quite find because you forgot where you put them last night anyway. But you eventually grab your keys, you get out the door, you're driving to work, and then stoplight comes and you check your email again, stoplight, check the email, check Twitter again, check the email. You eventually get to work and you're walking through the hall like this, checking the email, just kind of getting ready for when you start working. So you set it down, you realize, oh, wait, there's an email that just came in. And this is a reply from an email that you sent on Friday, right? Email you sent on Friday to somebody, now it's like Tuesday, and you're waiting for this reply. So now you've got this email, and you're like, oh, good, I got this. This is important, I sent it out. There's a reply to them, but I'm waiting for this. So you half read it in the phone, then you set it down, you open up your browser, you open up, and you go to your email, and you finish reading this thing, and then you're like, okay, well, I got to reply to this right now. Got to reply. So you start typing up the reply. It's an important client. So maybe you want to delete a little bit, you rewrite it, you delete, you rewrite it, and you're about to hit send, and then your friend texts you, so you pick up your phone and go, it's good. Exactly. You have no idea. So you reply, you get back to the email, you finish it, you're like, okay, that's good, I hit send. So now you're like, I'm just going to pop over to Facebook and take a break because I have been working so hard this morning. That email was exhausting. And honestly, I've been working since I woke up. Because I checked my email 2 minutes after I woke up. Right? It doesn't sound familiar, I know. You guys aren't identifying at all with it. It's just me. She's
offended.
I'm offended.
You're offended already?
How dare you talk about me working?
Yeah.
Shame over here. I'm just shame corner.
So, let me keep going. So, I'm back, send an email, and then I'm over at Facebook, right? And I'm at work now, so I don't want to spend too much time. So I just skim through, skim past this little cat, go skim. And then someone shares an article, someone that is kind of like I'm connected kind of through work. And I know them, maybe I met them at a conference, and they share this article on marketing. I'm like, it's just at a marketing conference. This is awesome. They click on that article. It's kind of like work, right? Doing research now. So I start reading the article, get about halfway through that article, I'm like, this is so cool. Everything in this article I learned last week at the conference. It's like, how did they know that? All those notes on your desk are right there, but now I'm reading the article about it. It's research. So I get about halfway through the article, then my mom texts me, and I got to reply to my mom. So I reply to her, and then I'm like, where was I? All right, I was reading the article. So I go to the article, and then I see in the corner there's like a really cool TED Talk link, picture of and someone at the conference mentioned this TED Talk, so I'm like, I have to check that out, but I really don't have time. I got to get back to something. You know what, though? What I'll do is I'm just going to go download the app on my phone because that will remind me that I need to watch that later. I've been meaning to watch TED Talks because they make me feel really smart. I get great ideas. So I'm going to go, let me just go to the App Store, download it. Oh my God, there's a new productivity app. Holy shit, this is so this productivity app, my friend was just talking about, and they are like raving about this productivity app. So I'm going to download that, and I get that download. I'm like, oh right, the TED app. So download the TED app. So meanwhile, that's all happened, and then my computer lets me know that an email came in from somebody else. This is an email I've been waiting for 2 weeks. So I open that up, and I know I've got other things to do, but I say, you know what? I read somewhere, somehow, that if it takes less than 2 minutes, let me just do that right now, right? Anyone ever heard that phrase?
Yeah, I remember.
All right, let me just do that right now is one of the worst phrases in the in English, any language that you can speak. It is horrible, my personal opinion, because it just keeps pulling us here and here and here, and we never get what we really need done. So I do it anyway. Apply, send. Notification comes up that I've got a meeting in 10 minutes. Holy crap, totally forgot all about it. Didn't check my calendar to see what was on my day. Meeting in 10 minutes. Mind you, it's been an hour and a half since I've been at work already. All of that happened. So, the notes. I need the notes from last week because I can't remember what the meeting's about, what we talked about last time. Where are my notes? Right? My notes are in an email that someone sent me about the notes from the last time, so I don't have a place where I put them. I'm just going to go search my email. Hope they're there. So I search that, grab it. And this just goes on and on and on. And again, you get it. Decisions are distractions. Willpower is limited. Habits are a powerful biological force, but decisions are distractions. Let's talk about putting success in your way, or how someone can put success in their way. And eliminating these decisions. Where's my run coach? Napkin Dad left.
He had to go.
He had to go. So I'll tell you about running. I wanted to take up running in 2012. I hate running. Hated running. I like running now. Wanted to take it up. And I got really enthusiastic about it. And I don't know about you, but when you take up something new and you get really enthusiastic about it, the willpower and the enthusiasm will like carry you for like 2 weeks. And then it all falls apart. So I'm getting out the door pretty well, for the first 2 weeks. And my goals were simple. I did what Run Coach said, or Napkin Dad was saying, run a mile, run a mile, run a mile. That was my goal, just run a mile. But I did want to do a 5K one day. It was in the not too distant future. And in Maine, I was running, it was November, so I got unbundled. But I was like, remember that scene in Forrest Gump with Lieutenant Dan is like, is that all you've got? That was me in the wintertime in Maine when I'm running. I'm like, is that all you've got? So, but to get out the door, so if I want to run a 5K, I got to start by running the 1 mile maybe. But for me, I need to get out the door. So after that willpower wears off, I'm laying in bed and I say, I'm going to go running tomorrow morning. Get up. I don't want to go running today. It's cold. But really what's happening for me is I'm going, where's my armband? What are my headphones? Do I have any clean socks? Do I have the right, did I wash my long shirt for running in the cold? Did I have my hat? Where did I put it? And now I've got all these decisions in my way that are taxing my willpower, taxing my decision-making ability to get out the door. The most important decision to start running is just to get me out the door. Once I'm there, running is like, what else am I going to do? I'm dressed, I'm here, I better run. So for me, the barrier is all these decisions in the way to get myself out the door. And I will tax all that willpower that I might need in the last quarter of a mile because I'm new at running and I can't do it. But I need that willpower then, and I don't need to burn it up with all these decisions in between. So what's the solution? How do I put success in my way? It looks different for everybody. But I think I focus on what's the first action? I need to get myself out the door. So I want to kind of roll out of bed almost and into my clothes. So it's as simple, you got it, I know you do. Just put it right beside the bed. Everything I need, my shoes, my headphones, my armband, everything that I need the night before. I check the weather. I decide ahead of time. This is what I'm going to do. What do I need in front of me to do it? That is how I put success in my way. There's a man by the name of Sean Aker who's a professor of psychology at Harvard. And Sean has one of the most popular classes at Harvard on happiness. And he wrote a book called The Happiness Advantage. Has anyone ever heard of The Happiness Advantage? It's a great, great book. And in this, he describes, now he knows how habits work and motivation works and things like that. He wanted to learn how to play the guitar. So he set up this elaborate plan, spreadsheet. Here's when I'm going to practice after work. I'm going to learn these songs. I'm going to try this. And he had checklists and everything else. So he comes home the first night and he grabs his guitar out of the closet, sits down on his couch and starts playing. Second night, comes home, grabs his guitar out of the closet, sits down on the couch, starts playing. Third night, same thing. Fourth night, same thing. Fifth night, same thing. Sixth night, sits down on the couch, grabs his remote, turns on the TV. Not because it was on his plan, by the way. So, he's sitting there kind of beating himself up for dropping his plan like we all do when we fall off our plan. What he realizes, he's staring over his closet, which is only 5 or 6 steps away. TV, remote, couch. So he goes over to his closet, pulls the guitar out, and sets it on a stand between the couch and the TV. He takes the remote and he puts it in the closet. He put success in his way for whatever goal because the first step of learning how to play guitar is pick up the darn guitar, right? For him, he knew what the first action was and what he also needed to avoid. So the decision of what should I do, he's trying to eliminate that, narrow the field a little bit, focus. He's trying to focus and eliminate those decisions and distractions. So for me, my goal is to be a decision minimalist. I want to make as few decisions, little tiny ones, the ones that don't matter, the ones that don't serve me or serve the people that I'm serving, or serve my goals. I want to become a decision minimalist and eliminate all of this. What does that look like? This is a phrase that Becky said that I use all the time. I love this phrase. When someone presents me with an idea, all these great ideas, a concept, I love that. I could play around there all the time. But I've got to get it down to what does it mean for me and how am I going to act on that? What action am I going to take? So I need to know what does that look like for me? And that's what I focus on with people that I work with. It's like, so what does that look like? It's a great goal. But what does that look like in action? So what does put success in your way look like? What does it look like for you to put success in your way with your goals? What is it going to mean when you start going back and you come up with this content marketing plan? How are you going to stick to it? How are you going to follow through on these ideas once you boil them all down? Well, one of the things is that you have to decide before you have to. This is how I eliminate those decisions. It's kind of a little secret. It's a dirty little secret. Like, I decide before I'm in the moment. Because if I'm in the moment, and I'm like, what? I've decided that I'm going to tweet 2 times today. Or I need to blog every single day. And then you sit down in front of in front of the screen and you're like, what am I going to blog about? I have no idea. I decided to do that. But so the put success in your way in that moment is, I need ideas. Maybe I need a framework for blogging. That's one of the things that my business partner is really great at. He has a blogging framework that he uses. Bang, 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 bang. So decide before you have to. Establish rules. I need rules. So one of the things that I do when I decide is that I decide the night before what I'm going to work on the next day. At the end of my day, around 4:30, 5 o'clock, before I start wrapping things up, I have lots of kids, as Becky pointed out, so they start coming home and knocking on my office door, just walking in without knocking. So I decide before I have to by pulling out I have a daily sheet, and I write my mission every day. I write, has anyone heard of the 3 Words Project? We choose 3 words to guide you here. I won't get into it, excuse me. But I use 3 words that guide my goals. They're sort of like signposts for me. I don't do resolutions, just these 3 words. So 3 words, my mission, And then I have a block of time, 3 40-minute sections that I call my success block. And this came about because, well, there's a long story that came about, but basically, after doing all that email distraction I was describing in Facebook and TED Talk watching, at the end of the day, I'm like, holy crap, I never got to the things that I needed to get to. Anyone else? Never got to what I was working on, what I intended to. So I put it up front. I do it first. That way, if the day blows up, my child gets sick, one of the 700 that I have, then I can leave going, you know what, I accomplished this success, because I can get more done in those 3 hours than I could with all those interruptions in an entire day. I can knock some stuff out. So 3 40-minute projects, and I choose the night before, I decide before I have to, and if I have to go so far as to set out exactly what I need, I'll do that. So if I had to make sales calls, I'm not going to say 10 sales calls, I'm going to write down the names of the people, the contact information, their phone number. I'm going to write little notes about what we're going to talk about. That's put success in your way. So decide before you have to. Now here, let's go to the rules. My rules for me, I do not check Facebook, any form of social media, any email for the first 2 hours of my day. Like when I wake up, don't touch it. Do what I need to do at home, get my kids to school, whatever, get to work, don't touch it. I sit down, I work on my success block, knock out those 3 40-minute blocks. Then I go into email very deliberately, and Becky has a great email system that she helped me with. When I go to my email, I don't look at my inbox. I have rules that send stuff to folders, and I go through in priority, like, okay, there's something in there from my wife. That's priority number 1. Then, you know, my business partner, our customers, whatever. But I go in very deliberately into email, not like, what am I going to decide? So, establish rules. The other rule that we have in our family is, I've told my wife, like, this is how I'm working. Don't interrupt me, please. Please. I always say please. But we have this rule, like, well, what if something happens? So she might call me, and if I don't pick up, she knows I'm locked in, like a code monkey. So if she calls twice, I know I better pick up the phone because something's going on. So that's our little signal. That's just our rule. That's our system. You call twice, I'm going to pick up. I don't care where I am, who I'm talking to. Like my wife just called twice, something's going on, I'm picking up. Those are my rules. This is what I do it for. These are my 4 kids. The 2 in the back are taller than I am now, by 3 inches, which is not a very difficult thing, but they are. So structured technology to serve you, and I have them there because, and I have a similar picture on my phone already because it's sort of my reminder that this is what I'm doing it for. So earlier there was I'm trying to remember who was talking about, you know, we're working for a reason. We're working to be able to be human. I think you were talking about this, right? Like to be able to be with our family. This is how we're structuring our lives. You know, a lot of us have maybe you work from home, you have some more flexibility, but you still have to get some stuff done. But this is kind of why you're doing it. No matter what you're doing, you get family, you got priorities. Maybe the last guy, he's got the 2 dogs. And like, that's a priority for him. So I structure technology to serve me. I don't want to be serving it. So automation, we use all day long, and we do use Infusionsoft, so shameless plug for Infusionsoft. Not paid, but they can give me that money back now. So what I do with technology is I turn off all my notifications. Nothing pops up in front of me on my desk. No little red dots on my phone. No pings, nothing. Other than texts, which usually are coming from my kids, and I'll check that, or my wife, once in a while. I want to know what's going on with them. Yes, sir.
Do you mind if I approach you?
Go ahead.
What do you do about the itch to turn on notifications? I try to turn off notifications, but I have the itch that I should turn back on because something's happening that I don't know. Yeah.
It's practice. It's honestly practice. It's like recognize that in the moment, and I tell them I do this little thing. I call it Rira. Rira actually is Gaelic for chaos, but I recognize what I'm doing in the moment. I'm like, holy crap! Here is that temptation. I do have an interdiction. To interdict is to interrupt something, to stop something, right? So I might out loud say, stop. Stop what you're doing, you moron.
Not you.
Not you, believe me, I just call myself that. And then I refocus and I take action. Like, you know, so that for me, like, I have all those temptations. Here's my other, this is less about the notifications, but it's about the notifications in your brain. I forgot to set up a hair appointment with my friend Nicole over here, so I gotta, oh crap, I gotta do that. And I gotta take my dog to the vet. So those pop into my head all day long. I have this wonderful, amazing app. It's called a pen and a blank piece of paper. And as I'm doing this, no joke, this has changed my life. I actually learned from a meditation technique. So as that thought comes to my head, I write it down because I know if I don't do it right now, I'm going to forget. Or let me just do that right now. That's a killer. It's because then I'll get into something else and something else. I put it somewhere. I take it out of my brain and put it on the paper and get back to work. And it's just that little dump. At the end of the day, I look at that blank sheet, or maybe a break at lunch, and I can take care of those things when I've got a chosen downtime, not a distracted action time. Yes?
As you just described your plan, the night before, you go through, you write down what you're going to do tomorrow, you plan out your action blocks, your work blocks that you're going to work on.
Yep.
You go through all of that. People in this audience are thinking, man, he's a machine. He's got to be the most organized brain. He's a naturally organized person.
No, well,
And
that's
I
why
know
said,
better than that.
you know better than that, and this is why I said at the beginning, I don't think this way. It does not come naturally. This is hard work, stopping myself. I've had to trigger myself to stop. I love my associative brain, but we have a love-hate relationship sometimes. And this is what I use to kind of pull me back in and support me. And if I know that if I've eliminated distractions and put success in my way, then I'm going to work towards my goals. Because what happens is that regret builds for me. I don't know about you, but for me, if I miss a day and I keep missing and keep missing and keep missing and cram my day with those distractions and not get the work done, regret builds and worry builds, and I feel behind and I feel like I can't do it. But if I take little steps every day, then I feel better. Thanks both for the questions. So structuring technology to serve me, it's just setting it up. Here's another pet peeve I have is, and I'm still working hard at this one. If I talked about that meeting notification, meeting comes up, and then you're like, oh crap, the meeting notes are in my inbox. Now I got to search in your inbox, but then you're going to see that someone emailed you, and it's going to pull you in, and you get sidetracked almost instantly. And we don't need an app for this. The technology is there inside your Google Calendar or your Apple Calendar, whatever it is that you use. There's a notes section. There's a contact section. There's all sorts of little boxes to fill out, like a mini CRM almost. Not quite as good as Infusionsoft, but it's there that can serve you. It's like having your own assistant. If you take care of yourself that way, it's like being your own personal butler. Here you go, Rob. Here's everything that planning Rob last night set up for you, so you don't turn into distracted Rob. So like night before Rob is really awesome. I love him. Thank you. To automate is human. This is part of this. To automate is human. And Ramon talked about this. Automation allows you to be human. And we do this, we do a lot of email marketing. Like most of our business, we use social, and I'm fortunate that Chris, does most of that. But our email marketing list, our list is so personal to us. We want to care for it and nurture it. But I do have to automate because it's pretty big, and I can't touch everybody all the time. So one simple example that it's so ridiculously simple, but it blows people's minds every time, is we might when we announce something, when we launch a new product, we sell webinars, we sell courses online. So we might promote that. And of course they get the link and they click the link and they're like, oh, let me bless you. Let me go check this out. Then, of course, they get to our landing page and they get distracted by a text or an email or something like that, and they forget, and they may have intended to buy, But they didn't, so we get this little abandoned cart sequence. You've all heard of these, right? So 45 minutes later, they get a little email from me. It's like, hey, I saw you were checking out the course. Do you have any questions? Or you didn't finish? Maybe you got distracted, whatever it is. Did you finish? Can I answer any questions for you? So it's just like the guy who was walking around the store like, do you need anything? Can I help you? Sometimes that annoys us, but we expect that. We expect them to check in with us. So it's just a little check-in like, hey, I'm here. But that's automated, of course. I can't sit there and send it out every time. But it's an automated touch. But then when they reply, if they say, yes, I have a question, or no thanks, or your product sucks and your price is too high, I don't care what they say. Now I'm in a relationship. Now I can connect. To automate is human. So I use automation to be human. I use automation to be human with my kids. I use automation by even like kind of an analog version of automation by deciding ahead of time and saying, this is what I'm going to work on, this and this and this, so that I can be free to decide to do bigger things with my family, with my kids, work on my business in a different way. My afternoon time might be a little more creative. But that to automate is human. One of the ways we do it, we have this thing that we created called action stacks. We called the action stacks, but yeah, I love these. So an action stack they're simple, repeatable action plans. You all in your work have things that you do week after week after week that are the same thing. For me, one of my things is that I'm the guy who, when Chris and I decide we're going to do a webinar, Krista says that and writes the copy, and I put all the pieces together. I build it all in Infusionsoft, I build the sales page, I take care of all the operational details. Again, not my strength, but that's what I do. So I remember easily every step, but as I'm going into it, I'm like, step 1, step 2, step 7, step 8, step 17, oh right, step 4, step 5, step 16, oh right, this is how my brain works. I'll get it all done eventually, but there's a lot of decision-making, remembering power that I'm cranking through. An action stack, I pull it out. I pull out my action stack. And it's got the list of all the steps that I need to complete. I don't need to think about it. Why would I want to think about it? Why would I want to? It's not a creative process. The creativity is what we're selling. It's the webinar that we're preparing, the course that we're developing, the sales page copy. That's creative stuff. But why waste my time doing it, being creative about how I lay out the webinar? It's just steps. So I automate it in some way almost. I automate my brain. I push it off to this list. I pull out the list and I just go through. I have an action stack for how I start my day. I have an action stack for how I end my day. So when you go home with all of these great ideas, action stacks helped me to put success in my way. I need to get this webinar thing done. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to waste any decision making. I don't want to have any willpower to get power through it. I almost want it to be, I don't want to think about it to the point where it's almost habitual. Just go through it, because why would I waste the time? This is how I put success in my way. So when you go home and you have these ideas and you start figuring out, what are we going to do? What is our plan? Does this, first of all, which ideas that you've gathered actually fit with your plan? Because first and foremost, I hope you have a plan. And then from there, figuring out, well, if I'm going to tweet a couple times, we just decide we're going to take it easy. We're just going to pick one. We're going to work on Twitter. And we're going to do it. The data guy, science data guy said, we can do a little more on Twitter than we can on Facebook and Instagram. So we'll do a little more. We'll decide it's going to be 5 or 6 times a day. So you start building this little stack. And you think about deciding ahead of time what the content's going to be. And of course, they talk about live tweeting and stuff, and those are really great moments. You got to listen. But there are steps to this that you don't have to be thinking about. And you honestly want to almost prime yourself going in. So you don't have to be sitting there, what do we do? What do I say this time? Put success in your way. So whatever idea that you come up with, this is another refocus tool that I use when I get pulled away or get tempted by those things, is what do I need to do right now? That'll pull me back almost every time. Or if I'm getting lost in those thoughts about what to do next, or which one should I do, or what do I need to do right now? Because I have goals, long-term goals that we're working on. And in order to accomplish them, there's something that I need to do right now. This is one of my favorite quotes. I don't know if it's Chris or one of us said, first, I'm gonna take credit. Your day is your week, is your month, is your year. If you have a goal of selling, of increasing your revenue by $120,000 this year, then you know that's $10,000 a month. Then you know that's about $2,500 a week. Don't get me with the 4.23 thing. Okay, $2,500 a week. What does it take? How much do my products cost? Well, I've got $500 product here, so that's going to be 5 sales. Now, how many calls do I need to make 5 sales? Usually have a closing rate of about, let's say it's 20%. So I have to make, 25 calls? Is that my math right? I'm going to make 25 calls to get 5 sales. So what do I need to do right now? My days, my weeks, so now I've got to put on my daily actions 5 calls. And how am I going to put success in my way? I'm going to put the names and I'm going to put the phone numbers of the prospects that I'm going to call that day. So I've just taken this mammoth goal. Or maybe it's all these ideas. And you just want to boil it down to which idea am I going to dig into tomorrow? What calls am I going to make tomorrow if that's the sales goal? How far am I going to run today to run a marathon in 9 months? Breaking it down. So you start with a plan. You need to decide before you have to. Don't leave yourself open to draining all that energy. Focus that amazing energy that you have on the things that matter to you, not on the little things that we have constructed in our lives to mean something, or all these little decisions we make about what we're wearing. I can decide I can still look pretty good, even deciding the night before, right? I look good. Establish rules. Break it down and ask yourself, what do I need to do right now? This is how I personally put success in my way. This is how I work with people to kind of take all of that craziness that we're susceptible to. All those email notifications, everything that all the directions we're pulled in, all the notifications that we allow in our lives. Your inbox is like the perfect delivery system for somebody else's agenda. Right? Choose your agenda first. Get that done. And then go into that inbox and deal with it on your terms as well. So I hope you've had an amazing conference. This has been a great experience for me. I thank you again. I just want to can I give you a hug before we wrap it up? When they started the conference and said that there was an amazing lineup of speakers, present company excluded, of course, that there were amazing speakers, they were not lying. I got so much every single. Roxanne, I'm still thinking about one, stuff that you said, the first thing, but your presentation, and you had some tech issues that you were dealing with, but you rocked the whole thing. So it was really great. I'm glad you all were here. If you have any questions, this is how you can reach me, at Rob Hatch, on all the Insta, Twittergrams, and Rob at owner.media. Thank you very much.